So whatever I spoke, please think about it. Next time when you look at Bhagavan, you have to understand evlo periyavarnu therinjikkanum. Appoda we can grow. If you don't do the chintana of his mahima and just do bhakti na konjam marandu poidum nadula. You see alpathillam poi maatindru. Iniki na exam ezhudina seriya ezhudala enakku nambikaiye poidudna ayyo ennallam pannirukkan Bhagavan adha vittu un exam vechinu Bhagavana paaka. Adu unak exam. You see eppadi paakren. And then he is saying,
தோன்றியது அழியும் அழிந்தது தோன்றும் தோன்றி தோன்றி அழியும் என்றுந்தி பர. தோன்றியது அழியும் அழிந்தது தோன்றும் தோன்றி தோன்றி அழியும் என்றுந்தி பர. முக்திக்கு பொருத்தமம் உந்தி பர.
In a very simple way, he is showing something very big, that everything we see is a cycle. Our smallest cycle is the cycle of day. Every day I wake up and then I do all this stuff, go back to sleep, I wake up. So in a sense, when I wake up, it is a creation of the mind, and I work everywhere. That is the sustenance of the mind. Finally in the night, mind abde layathuku porudhu. Next day again it comes up, does all the work, goes back to layam. Small cycle. And then there is cycle of 6 seasons. In the West it's 4. In Sanatana Dharma, Shad Rutu, 6 seasons cycle happens. And then there is 1 year cycle. And then our Sanatana Dharma says solar system goes around the galaxy. It is called Manvantaram. Manvantaram is about 310 million years, 30 kodi. And that's one cycle. And that Manvantaram galaxy edo suttarado theriyala. And that is one kalpam, which is 1 day of Brahma, or 14 times adu suthuma. That is 1 day of Brahma. Appuram Brahma then solar system, whatever life as we know it in the normal plane of physical universe folds. And Brahma has one cycle of 1 day, then he wakes up, and slowly all this happens, you see. And then Brahma's 100 years or periya cycle, and that cycle is what he is saying right now. That like we have everything small cycle. We have a small seed, it grows into a plant, plant dies, and from there another plant comes up, Vazhakamari. The Vazhamaram comes up, it then gives fruits, etc. It lives this life fruitfully. Then you cut it, Tiripi again it comes. There is a cycle. So here, Tondriyadi Ajiyum, Ajindadu Tondrum. That which is Tondriyadungaradu or Vedantic word, vyaktam na artha. That which is vyaktam, that which appears has to disappear. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. That which appears has to disappear. And again it will appear and disappear. So there is a constancy in this universe in form of, it's called pravaha rupena. Pravaha rupena evlo periya vishayam theriyuma? I'll explain you what it means. What it really means is, our grandfather must have gone to Kashi, right? Was Ganga there when our grandfather went to Kashi? It was there. Our grandfather's grandfather must have gone there. Ganga irundhathu. Bhagavad Ramanujacharya has gone there. Shankaracharya Adiyantara Bhagavad 2000 varsham munnadi. Ganga irundhathu. So is Ganga ji there for 4000 years, 3000 years? Yes. But then that Ganga Tirtham which Adi Shankara Bhagavad saw was already passing. It went and joined Bay of Bengal. But still, as a pravaham, as a flow, Gangaji is always there. But the exact detailed water, that bunch of water which he saw may be different from what I saw, because it's the cycle, it's a hydrological cycle. But as Ganga, she is always there. Likewise, this world as we see it right now is present now. One day it will be completely destroyed. And then after a big break, another world will come. In the Maryada, again the same way. And then it will sustain for some time. It will be destroyed. Again it will come. So finally, there are two things here. If you are very careful, you will understand what Swamiji is saying here. Swamiji is not merely saying that which is up here has to disappear. Vyaktam, avyaktam. Tondriyaduna vyaktam na artha. That which is not seen is called avyaktam na artha. So this whole universe Though he appears, sustains, disappears, appears, sustains, disappears as a flow of change, also has a constancy in form of pravagam, as a flow. Just like how that water which Adi Shankara Bhagavad or Bhagavat Ramanujacharya or Madhvacharya saw 300,000, 2,000 years back, the same water is not we are seeing, but the same flow of Ganga we are seeing today. So that water has gone, but that flow is sustained. So our Swamiji is hinting here that which you see as the world appears, and if it is appeared and it has a name and form, it has to disappear one day, no doubt. It has to go back to its cause. But then this whole cycle of creation, sustenance, and dissolution is not a one-time thing. It's a flow, a constant cycle. Thirumba, thirumba, thirumba. Just like how if we are living in Kerala or Tamil Nadu, you have this plantain plant in your backyard. That plantain plant would have been there 10 generations back. It's called Vazhayadi Vazhainepir, which means avichinnama, without a break, there was always a plantain tree. And somebody cut that plantain tree, another plantain tree came from the same place, it was cut. Plantain tree as a plantain tree is constant, but the specific plantain tree had to be dead one day. You have to cut it down and a new tree comes there, and a new plant or whatever comes there, and then it is cut. Then the same source, adhe source na. That's why it's called Vazhayadana. Because the same source which was there, I don't know when. When was the first Vaza? You see, where was the first? As a flow, I don't know where it started, where it ended, I don't know. You see this pravaham. Our Swamiji is saying that world which we see right now, just because it came into appearance one day before or someday, it has to finally disappear. Thondriyadu azhiyum. And azhindadu thondrum. Once it's gone, it has to come back as a cycle. And thondri azhiyum enrundi para cycle. Yukti ki porutamna, I have given you 2 yuktis here. Even logically it is true na, that when I have a plantain plant, I cut it, that plantain is gone, but another plantain comes. As far as that plantain is there, since it appeared, it has to disappear. Since it was born, it has to die. But the actual flow of plantain tree-ness has to be constant. That which is created has to be destroyed. And after destruction, again it's a cycle. And if you want to understand what is created, what is destroyed, very simple. When you use the word destroyed, we immediately imagine something vanishes. Let me give you a small example. Suppose I go to a clay terrain, where the whole land is clay. You have no hot soil, clay soil. And one day while I was going, there was a potter who took the clay from the land. A guy made it into a pot. Now, I saw something. I know the same clay land. That clay land, in the surface of the clay land, he made a lovely clay pot. Where did the clay pot come from? It came from the clay land. It came from the soil or the clay. And the pot looks very beautiful. Then I said, I need to show it to somebody. Then I went and said, I'll go and say, please keep it that way. I'll go and come back. Before I could come back, some children played cricket. And enna ball aadnalo theriyala, flat aayiduthu. Now when I came back, hey, where is the clay? Where is the pot? Destroyed. What was destroyed? Did pot disappear? It didn't disappear. What came from clay went back to clay. So clay was always there, even when pot was there. So what disappeared? My observation of a name called pot and a form called pot disappeared because it went back to its source called clay. So edu thonithu alinjuduna olagamna nama roopam thonitam, nama roopam alinjudhu. Thiruppi nama roopam thonum, nama roopam aliyum. But which shows 2 things. This is Sanatana Dharma. So what it says is, there has to be a constancy called clay, which I may not even observe. Why? Because clay is very subtle. Na? Clay is very, I don't see the obvious. I ever see the obvious? Suppose I ask you, describe what is out here. You will say, Thakurji is beautiful. Our Radharani has a pot of butter in her head. And here a lot of plants are there. You will give me all the description. And I'm yet to hear somebody said there was light here. Light illana edume theriyadillaya. But we observe what the light reflects. But we forget that the whole thing is possible because Adharam is light. We always forget the Adharam. Appo, when we say, our Thakurji abhi purapada kalambitarnu vechukonga ellam covid la mudijaprom. Then you will say, what happened na? Irundare, ipo illiye. Appo irunda ade light ippum irukku illaya. That light now showed a lovely form, a lovely plants, etc. Those plants are not there, but light remained. Na? Adha consciousness. Adha adharam. You see? So here, thondriyade aliyum alindadu thondrum means that name and form which this clay became pot, right? And the clay was always there. When I walked yesterday, clay was there, but I didn't see it as a pot because I saw nothing there. Nothing ana. Clay, I didn't see it as anything at all because I'm used to only observing non-obvious things, not the background. For example, just to make it a little light, because I could see you all getting too deep inside. You'll remember this example more than the verse later. Adam problem. Okay, but anyway, there were two neighboring countries, not very friendly with each other. So the person had the pass to go from this country to that country. And he used to, go across. And then when he comes back, he was coming with a cycle loaded with a lot of bundle. And the outpost, or inner or outer. So you can take any route you want to. So when he was coming from the outpost, he said, hey, show the bundle, show the bundle. You opened the bundle, all old raddi paper, etc. Sorry, po. After daily raddi paper around. And slowly watch Apple Watch 1, 2, 3, 4 paint. And he's wearing wonderful dress. Huh? But he was bringing this raddi bundle every day. He cycle out in Urvana. So after 5 years, that customs officer was at its mid-send. The outpost. The outpost, I have been seeing you for 5 years. You are bringing only raddi. But then you are become very rich. He says, no, you all see, whatever you see is what I am bringing. And finally he retired. Then he came home and said, you have to tell me, now I'm retired, I can't do any action on you. What were you smuggling? You know what that person said? I was smuggling cycles. You always checked what was above the cycle. You never checked the cycle. Every day I walked across the border, brought a cycle daily. And I'm selling it. Obvious. Here the Vishayam is, in spite of the name and form is only temporarily there. But we forget the adipada, the fundamental, which is the clay. So when you say Tondradana, what appeared? Nothing new can be created. Law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of mass, whatever it is, there is something called law of conservation of something is there. Na? So something cannot come from nothing. Be with me. This is very important. You understand this. So something has to be constantly there. It just transforms itself into a name and form in the meanwhile. And since it transforms as name and form, it has to come back to its original, can I use the word, unmanifested state. Now the clay ground is unmanifested. Pot is manifested. When the pot is destroyed, what is destroyed? That which came from mud went back to mud. What was destroyed is merely our notion of nama and rupa. This is Upanishad Vishayam, Bhagvaan Upanishad. But I have to bring it here. Yukti ki purtamam solitar, yanda yukti na Veda yukti. I'm using the Vedokta yukti. You see, that yukti told by Vedas. So here, the name and form, what we see, everything is only name and form. Na? Tell me anything. Name, form. So here he's saying, That which appears has to be destroyed. And that which destroys again can be appearing. Why? Because there is a constancy also in this whole thing. And there is also an, transitory thing also. Adavadhu, tarkalikam, vyaktam. And permanent is avyaktam. Idatha, Bhagavan is telling in Bhagavad Gita, Dvavimau purushau loke, sarascha akshara evacha, ksharaha sarvani bhutani, kutasto akshara uchyate. That all these 5 elements, this creation, all those insentient stuff, that which you see, that which is manifested is called ksharam, because it is subject to destruction of name and form. But then he says there are 2 purushanes in this world. One is that which is constantly going in form of manifest, and then it destroys, manifest, destroys. And there is something called aksharam, which is what is called unmanifested, avyaktam. Okay, all right. Now, how do I understand avyaktam? Now, we are used to seeing only transformation between concrete stuff into something else concrete. This is the number practice. I have seen blocks there, that blocks were all brought together, and so the blocks as blocks were also gross. And using the blocks, I made something that's also gross. So I know that these individual blocks, when it comes together, becomes a building, and it has got a name and form of a building. It destroys, easy for me to understand. Clay becomes part, okay. But now I'm going to take a giant leap of this avyaktam becomes vyaktam. Vyaktam becomes avyaktam, what we need to understand is, before the potter made the pot, where was the pot made first? You see, bhavana, imagination. Oh, this is a mud here. I need to manifest it out, make it into a nice little cylindrical here with a mouth outside. I'll make it a pot in it. The first creation, which is the cause of the manifest creation, is always unmanifest, avyaktam, bhavam, mental projection. And that mental projection or the blueprint in my head becomes the actual manifestation later. You get what I'm saying? It is my mental imagination which becomes the real stuff there. Just like how when a person is actually telling us how a house is being built, first he imagines it in his heart as an architect. And he says, you have 1.5 acres of land, and this will be the entrance, this will be the hall. And as he's telling, we are getting the mental image. But before he spoke out, which is the manifested form of the building, he had an unmanifested thought, which is far more subtler than the gross sound. So that which comes out as manifest has to have its cause in unmanifest. Avyaktatlinda vyaktam. And you understand this principle, Big Bang won't be a difficult thing to understand for you. That singularity is avyaktam. Adalenda vardu vyaktam. Adinalda we are struggling with this sudden change. Unnumela illapa. Avyaktama irundhudu. From avyaktam vyaktam arudhu. Again it goes back to avyaktam, and it goes back to vyaktam. Ibdidan paint. And what is this akshara uchyate na? Bhagavanudaya avyaktam, which is what is called unmanifested prakriti. That unmanifested prakriti is Bhagavan's Shakti. Unmanifested prakriti is Bhagavan's Vasana. And what is that Vasana? If you don't understand, I won't blame you. Jiva Samashti. That Vasana has to be given by Paramatma. Has no Vasana. Who has Vasana? Nambalanda Vasana. You see. And during the Mahapralayam, we are all, held by Bhagavan. So we are all abiding in that consciousness, that Maha consciousness. So number samashti vasana irukku, that is what makes Bhagavan have the vasana to create again. Is that tattva. And creation has to have a cause. It's by design. It is not an accident. That's what we already took care of that in the initial. What is the cost? What is the reason for Bhagavan to create? Vasana. Yarada vasana? Namba vasana. Bhagavane aati padakkirom. Aati padakkiram. See? So we are making Bhagavan create samashta jiva vasane. Adhikda aksharam. Aksharamna aliyave aliyad. How can consciousness be destroyed? So the sum total of all our jiva's consciousness is the one which is the cause of this world. So world or the cause is the aksharam, which is the avyaktam, which is the creative power of Bhagavan. That creative power is a vasana of Bhagavan. Creative power ku samashta karma, samashta time, etc. Ella in the jeevangal kitta. Ena Bhagavan karma kadayade. So he uses all this to create this. You see? So idukkeல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு தியானம் வேணும். So whatever I spoke, please think about it. When next time when you look at Bhagavan, you have to understand எவ்வளவு பெரியவர்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். அப்போதான் we can grow. And if we don't do the chintana of his mahima and just do bhakti na கொஞ்சம் மறந்து போயிடுவோம் நடுவுல. We will stumble. You see, அல்பத்தெல்லாம் போய் மாட்டின்றோம். இன்னைக்கு நான் எக்ஸாம் எழுதினேன், சரியா எழுதல, எனக்கு நம்பிக்கையே போயிடுதுன்னா, ஐயோ என்னெல்லாம் பண்ணியிருக்கான் பகவான், அதை விட்டுட்டு உன் எக்ஸாம் வச்சுன்னு பகவானை பார்க்காது. அது உனக்கு எக்ஸாம். You see, எப்படி பாக்குறேன். So here he is saying, this is the beauty of யுக்திக்கு பொருத்தம்னா சும்மா சொல்லிட்டு போயிடலாம். That which is created has to be destroyed. அதான் யுக்தி. யுக்தி இதுதான் யுக்தி. If it is destroyed, what is created is destroyed. Now finish. அந்த யுக்தி easy. தோன்றி தோன்றி மறையும் எங்க இந்த யுக்தி. You see, I had a small watch, it got destroyed. யுக்தி பொருத்தம். Since it was made, one day it has to die. After death it has to come back again. தோன்றி தோன்றி மறையத்துக்கு what logic will you use? அப்போ in spite of this apparent diversity of manifested and appearance and disappearance, there has to be a constancy which is anadi anantam. And adu irundadana repetition. What fuels Ganga? There is Gangotri, which always is there. And that constancy of that flow is maintained by an agency. And what maintains the constancy of creation, destruction? Creation, destruction, avyaktam. Adhan Bhagavan in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 16th shloka says, Ksharaha sarvani bhutani kutasto akshara uchyate. Ksharaha means that which can be destroyed, that which is mutable. And what is mutable? Name and form, this creation, etc. is mutable. But where did this all come from? Something subtle, like the mental plan of an architect made it into a physical explanation of the plan. Likewise, the Bhagavan udaya vasani. Bhagavan udaya vasani na Bhagavan udaya avyaktam, which is always there. That is the samashti of all jivas. They were all in Mahapralayam. And for Bhagavan to start that creation once again, he uses this individual jiva kodiyuடைய அந்த வாசனையை வச்சு he creates. And then our next shloka இல்லனா பகவான் வாச்சதானே நம்ம குருநாத வாச்ச. Here uttama purushastu anyaha paramatmeti udakritaga yo lokatrayamavishya vibharti avyaya ishvaraha. He says, Bhagavan says, I am apart from these two. The kshara, akshara, the manifested prakriti, unmanifested prakriti, jiva, எல்லாத்தையும் விட்டுட்டு தனியா இருக்கேனான்றான். I am apart from all that. And I am the one pradhana purusha ishvaraha. That prakriti, nature, whether manifested or unmanifested, the jivas, I am the ishvara for these two. Anyaha, taniya irken pana. Bhagavan is telling that to Arjuna. As consciousness, I am separate. As ishvara, I am separate. And so, why are you doing all this, Bhagavan? Alavila vilayatudayandra. No end. Again and again creating, sustaining, dissolution. Muttozhil purindu. Again and again. Yem pandranu puriyala. Illa first pandravan puriyala. Next, how he does, we don't understand. Who does it, we don't understand. Why he does it also, we don't understand. Yeah, idella panna. Leela. Just leela. Leelaya. Leelaya. உட்காந்து தவிச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம் நாங்கெல்லாம் லீலையாவா இருக்கு உங்களுக்கு. If that's only a leela na ரொம்ப sadistic Bhagavan. So much துன்பா. Bhagavan says, I am doing it as leelaya, but I am not independently giving you any joy and sorrow. I am using your own karma to give you only joy and sorrow. I am not trying to put you in trouble. But then why are you creating all this? Why? Padaipin karanam.
Padaipin karanam pattavadanamam veedu peradaivade undi para. Padaipin karanam pattavadanamam veedu peradaivade
இதுதான் பியூட்டி. இதுல பட்டவர்தனமாம்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை. Till the last verse, Swamiji was slightly apologetic. யுக்திக்கு பொருத்தம் இப்படிலாம் பேசிட்டு இருக்கிறவ now suddenly is saying the reason for creation, reason for the cycle is very obvious. பட்டவர்தனம் direct. What? வீடு பேடு அறைவதே, to attain Vaikunta, to attain Bhagavad Charana, to attain Mukti. That is why he has done all that. Not for Vishayanubhava, not for Kadu, Kamam and Kasu. You see. Not for these three. Not for Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksham is there. Na? It is not for wasting it without any purpose. Syllabus, just Aya, he, aise, he, Gayan, syllabus. Who came, he went. What did he do? Nothing. He was a burden to everything. Adu Kadu. Or he came, he wanted to have a good life as far as possible. He fulfilled his desire. What is the point then? Moonavadu, Kasu. He aggrandized so much. Very wealthy person. That's why Avayar says, Kudu vittu ingu avidan poyina pinbu yare anubhavippal pavigal andappanam. When you leave this currency won't come with you. Na? So Swamiji says, the whole idea of this creation is because it is temporary on one scale, and all the other purpose of life is not going to support it. If you clearly understand it's temporary, then I have to look for that permanency in this whole scheme of things, which is Bhagavan. That where I don't have to go through the cycle of again coming, again going, again coming. What? Swamiji uses a very strong example. Namba saaptu, vomit panni, thirupi saapra mari, thirumba porakanuma. Should we be born again and again and again? And so he is saying, obviously, now that we have two things which are very clear logically. I'm brought in Gita, but logically, if this whole thing is only temporary, again and again, I have to keep coming in. Then the other purusharthas, the other purposes of life is only going to support my cycle. There is only one purushartha which takes me out of this matrix, which is what is called moksha. So Bhagavan has created this universe. Again and again he is doing it because he is giving us again and again chance. Podu vada. Ipodu come, surrender and come out of it. No, I am still interested. Go. At some point of time, our punyas will aggregate. Papas will aggregate. The papa will give a blow. The punya will make us realize that satsangam da vadine. Kenapi punya leshena, we go to Bhagavan, we go to a guru, and thankfully there is sorrow in this world. If there is no sorrow, nobody wants to leave this world. If somebody is dreaming a sweet dream, nobody wants to wake up. If there are some nightmares every now and then, I'm afraid to go to sleep. So when I have to wake up, the better wake-up call for me is a nightmare than a sweet dream. Na? Only chamattu kolanda sweet dream or bad dream எழுந்துரும். சில குழந்தைகள்லாம் அந்த ட்ரீம் கொடுத்தாதான் எழுந்துக்குமா. And our Swamiji is going to explain that. துன்பம் வருவதும் விரக்தி வளரவே. Even the sorrows we experience in this world, which is because of our own papa only, Bhagavan has put that in the world so that we have the motivation to wake up. Dukkha doshanu darshanam. So that we look at the defects of things because it is also a source of sorrow. Otherwise, because with the tremendous blow, our Swamiji gives an example. There is a dog in the beach. This should never happen, but then as an example, that dog comes towards the Chat Bandar in the beach, Juhu beach land. And it will come, try to grab something there. And that person would keep a small batata vada. And the dog comes and eats it. And the pain for the dog is unbearable. After it ate batata vada, he gives a blow. But then the dog thinks, Ivan kitta varave kuda. Nena na inna nenachiya. I will never come back to the shop again. How dare he hit me? It goes there. Till when slowly the pain subsides and appetite increases and the blow is forgotten, the batata vada is reminded, vaalaatinde podhu. Thirupi saapradhu, addi vaangarudhu. Eppo varaikumna edo bhagya visesham that we remember the blows and say, Krishna, I should never be born again. ஏன்னா வச்சுக்கோ வேண்டா நல்ல ஒரு இடத்துல ஐஸ்லாண்ட தரேன் வேண்டாம் ஐஸே வேண்டாம். So here Padaipin Karanam Pattavardhanama. Bhagavan is showing the transitory nature again repeatedly. And the example I give is, generally we have examinations in India in a very troublesome month. And the month pere tapana month. May. The exam May. What happened? What will be the result? Will you pass May? And then you fail in May. They won't allow you until September. Come September, right? You fail in September, May, September, May, September. And the Mari Bhagavan is giving this rotation again and again. Come, you have to be born. Not always as a human, at times as a dog, as a pig, as a horse, whatever the karma is. Bhagavan does not punish us. He is giving us chance after chance to get rid of our karma in the other living organisms and to make good karma and use, our discrimination, vyaktam, to attain Bhagavan in the human body. So our Swamiji says, Padaipin Karanam Pattavardhanama. It is very straightforward. Another, Veedu Per Adaivade, Vaikunta Prapti, to attain Bhagavan's feet. Veedu nale, it means moksha. Aram porul inbam veedu. Aram means that Tamil in Aram means dharma. And hence this is dharma, this is Kali Dharma Undiyar. The purpose of dharma is moksha. So he is saying Veedu Per. Vishayanu bhavam illai. It is not for enjoying all these temporary material stuff in this world. That is the grandest purpose. And he is saying that Mukti
Karanam Yuktik Purundinum Vedame Kavendum Mundi Para Muktik Karanam Yuktik Purundinum Vedame Kavendum Mundi Para Veru Upayamillai Undi Para Veru Upayamillai Undi Para.
Now, step by step, our Swamiji slowly showed atheism has to be rejected, naturalism has to be rejected. There is a Bhagavan who created the world. Why go up to the world? There is a Bhagavan inside you. At least be grateful, because whatever you eat, somebody is digesting, giving you energy. Don't waste it, don't abuse it, don't misuse it. At least use it in form of gratitude towards that one inside you who is giving you that energy. And then he went on to say, yes, you can see him. Yes, you can see him and show your gratitude in person. And you don't need physical eye, you don't need this gross mind for it. Bhagavan will show himself to you. Only you will know how you will do it. Nariya Nama chant is what he's going to say. How will you do it? Bhagavan talks to you. He's talking in form of voice of consciousness. He's giving that prepare. He's preparing us. And then he said, even Bhumi has life. Everything has life. Bhagavan, because he is Chidatmakan. He is not only creating all the Panchabhutanla, it is Olungala irukku, but also he is in form of life in this world, in this earth. Because when you put a seed, plant comes out. Life comes from only life. Life cannot come from Jadam. So he is saying, Bhumikum Uyirundu, look upon the Bhuma Devi as Pranan Irukapa. And he said, look at this universe. Again and again created, sustained, dissolved. Created, sustained, dissolved. Then what is the point in this infinite cycle? And it is constant. Avyaktam is constant. Vyaktam da mari words. You see, avyaktam is the cause for vyaktam. Vyaktam na manifested. Avyaktam is unmanifested. Bhavam sonalya vasana. And so, what is the point? Point is for you to get out of this cycle. You see, for you to get out of this cycle. And it is very clear that for you to attain Bhagavan, you have to, the whole purpose of life is moksha. Other three purusharthas supports it. Kamam is there for us to sustain life in our body. If I don't have hunger or thirst, or if I don't have the kamam to procreate, then new jivas cannot come into being. Bhagavan eppadi vilayadran adu mari vechi vilayadran. So any hunger, thirst, etc. is required for me to sustain me or sustain human race. And the thirst is there for me to make sure that I don't make the body suffer and make it an unfit instrument for the purpose. You see, our Ramana Maharshi gives a lovely example. Whenever we come and sit and eat, Swamiji Upadesa Undiyarla solrar. You go to the plantain tree. Remember the one which Tata put and still it is living in our backyard. You cut a small plantain leaf and then you are sitting down to eat. What do you do with this plantain leaf? Tirtha telichi, alla clean panni, adachi, flat panni. Ena rasam odakudadhu. So flat touch. And then you eat. The moment you finish the meal, potage. You see. Why? Because until this instrument has to do its purpose, it has to be taken care. If there is no hunger and thirst, we won't take care of it. Our mind is a horrible thing at times. It's our enemy, it's our friend. We know now when a child is playing games, the body needs food. The body needs water. Yet the mind is engrossed with something which is going to hurt the body. It forgets food, it forgets water, it forgets to even breathe at times. It forgets that the eyes are getting really sore, but the mind is engaging in the Vishayanubhava. So if Bhagavan does not give us this little pain of hunger and thirst, we won't take care of the body. We don't know when the body needs calories. We don't know when the body needs water. So Bhagavan has put that kamam not desire, needs, right from basic desire he has put in, so that like this leaf needs to be cleaned for a purpose, kamam is there for a purpose. And then next is called artham. And artham means instead of leading a life where I hope I'll get my today's food and constantly instead of worrying about my basic necessity, artham means have a little financial security for a roof, for food, for some clothing. Basic needs have to be met for future also, so that your mind is freed. Next level need is called artham, security needs. And the higher level needs is, now that you are secure, follow dharma. Then security, financial security is there to support dharma. Without financial security, how can we be dharma? Even to listen to Krishna Katha, we should have some security in our heart. Yes, the next 1 month food is taken care, so I can listen to Krishna Katha. I can do kirtan only when some security is there for me. So this dharma is the end for artha. Dharma is not the means for artha. Then we have abused dharma. People don't do dharma out of fear. I'll get more artha if I do dharma, so I'll do dharma. No, it's a lower level dharma. Adallam Bhagavatam does not even consider it dharma. And once we follow dharma, Bhagavan is pleased. Dharma swanishtita pumsam visvakshena kathasviyaha. Then Bhagavan says, you have done dharma, virtue and happiness. Remember that? There is a connection. When we follow those virtues, when we follow the dharma, then Bhagavan has a connection of dharma to freedom, moksha. Prison, unless you have good conduct, they won't let you out. So we are all imprisoned in this samsara. Good conduct irunda taranduduva Moksha-dwar. Good conduct. And so we need kamam, but not as an end, but a means. We need artham, not as an end, but a means. And dharma is also there as a means for veedu peru adaivade mundipara. So here Swamiji is not discarding kamam or artham. He is not saying don't eat it, don't drink at all. He is saying do that with a clear understanding. Paralabam nu onnu irukku. There is something called the highest level purpose. All other purposes of your life, our life, should align to the grandest purpose. The grandest purpose is moksha. As long as other purposes align, go ahead and align it. You want a little distraction everywhere, fine, do it. But don't get distracted from that goal. Because then another September. Apro May. Okay. So here, our Swamiji says, Veedu peru adaivade undipara vishayanubhavam illai. Vishayanubhavam illai means three things. It is not with only aggrandization of wealth alone. It is not just fulfilling all my little desires of this life alone. It is not also a waste. Vandom parandom poram. There is a purpose. The purpose is veedu. Initially, Swamiji used three words, kaadu, kamam, kaasillai, undiparan. Then it was modified later. So, Vishayanubhavam, I am using the original divine words which came from him as an explanation. We will sing only Vishayanubhavam. Vishayanubhavam means all these three, not just engaging with all the objects. It will give a little happiness, a little while, appuram poidum. And then he says, Muktiki
karanam yuktikku porundinum vedameka vendum mundi para. Muktikku karanam yuktikku porundinum vedameka vendum mundi para. Veru upayamillai undi para.
He's saying, till now I told you yukti. Till yukti I can take you only here. Saying that at least using yukti, which yukti is also as per Bhagavan's yukti. It is not independent yukti. Acharya Purushas always use yukti which is shown even by other Acharya Purushas or Bhagavan. So Swamiji used only the yukti used by Krishna in Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, Adi Shankara Bhagavad-pada, Bhagavat Ramanujacharya. Iva yukti adhan பேசிட்டு வரார். Divine yukti, it's divine logic, not perverted logic. In that he says, now even if you think what is the cause for mukti, which dharma I should follow, sir, as long as I'm a good person, I'm sure, sir, that I will go to Krishna. Who said? Krishna is beyond goodness also. Goodness should lead to godliness. Just being a good person, you will get back good. Krishna is Trigunatitan, Suddha Sattvam, not just Sattvam, which means Sharan, surrender, Rundata, you can attain Bhagavan. You are a good person, that's not enough. It's good, but it's not sufficient. Without bhakti, our human endeavor is not complete. Why? But I don't understand. This is the limit of your intellect. He's a very good person. I'm sure he attained Krishna. How do you know? Goodness maxim takes us to a nice place where you are rewarded for your goodness. Then you have to come back. The goodness should result in devotion. The goodness should result in surrender to divinity. That goodness should result in humility to realize the limitation of intellect, and hence I surrender to a Shastra. Guru's words are Shastras for us. Because whatever he utters is, now we are seeing every Madhura Gita, Pudiye Shastra. It will reduce the rasam, but we were trying to show that what comes from him is all Shastra. You see, Bhagavatam, Shruti Gita, and so, Mukti ki Karanam, whatever be the reason or whatever be the path or means for Mukti, don't use intellect for that. Go to Shastras, because idalla intellect ode karyame kadayadu. When you want to take a big decision, you don't go and ask somebody who has no idea about it. You don't ask a child, shall we go back to US or not? You can't ask. This child is only 3 years old. It has no idea. And the Madri, our buddhi has a limit. After that, it won't. Spiritual matters, buddhi kaya go point. That is the reason why he is saying, Vedam yerka vendum. Even if you are trying to analyze and come to a conclusion with your intellect, very good. Here Swamiji is not said, Mukti ki karanam yukti ke kadayadu. Solala. Even if yukti comes to a conclusion, very good. Use your buddhi, because Bhagavan has given you that. But it's not sufficient. Beyond that, verify with Shastras, with your buddhi. Calibrate your buddhi with Shastras. Bhagavan is not saying, our Gurunathar is not saying, switch off your buddhi. Sollavela. Yukti ki porundinam. Think, don't blindly rush into anything. Think. Use your intellect. Bhagavan has given the intellect. Use it up to the maximum level. After that, you may come to a conclusion, but then don't act on it yet. If you think, I think, sir, based on my intellect, this is how I need to be free. Very good. Now come, Shastras path. Now that you have used your intellect fully, now look at Shastras and analyze what it said. And using Shastras, using our Vedanta, using our Upanishads, using our Bhagavatam as the guide, you decide the path you have to take. Veru upayamillai. Without Vedas, that which is supramental is what Sri Aurobindo calls. Very wonderfully has said, which Yogi Ram Surat Kumar has repeated, which our Swamiji told us, that the intellect is good, but it is not sufficient for realization. It is a good instrument, but it's not sufficient. And very beautifully our Swamiji said, Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo's phrase, Pondicherry, our Aurobindo, he says, intellect at best when it is really open, can be agnostic. Beyond that, intellect cannot come to a conclusion because it's beyond supra-intellect, supra-mind. So here, our Swamiji says, Vedam, it has to be in line with our Vedas. Vedam na Upalakshana. So Upanishad, Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Itihasa, and all the commentaries, including Madhura Gita. It is the gradations of understanding the same Veda. So there is no other way than that. This is how Shruti Gita starts. Shruti also is Dharma only. And our Swamiji loves Shruti Gita as the highest authority in Bhagavatam for Siddhanta. That is the maximum even an intellect can go to try to grasp things. Beyond a point, it will snap. Saying, what is it saying? But you can go now. Go as much as intellect takes you. Nobody wants you to switch off intellect. It's a gift. Our religion does not say be a fool. And we are fools if you don't use the intellect. Use the intellect to its capacity. Understand its limitation. Then you are intelligent. Now look at Shastras and then go ahead. You see. These three slokas I will quickly summarize. Tondriyadu aliyum, alindadu tondrum, tondri aliyum undi para, marupadarkillai endru undi para. Which means that which appears has to disappear or destroy. And it keeps on happening as a cycle. It is yukti ki puruttamam. It is in line with the normal logic. And what is the cause for this creation, sustenance, dissolution? Creations, padaipin karanamna, it upalakshanam for all the three. Janmadi is padaip. What is the reason for creation? Very clear, for moksha, not for vishayanubhava, not for all these worldly enjoyment. Third, the reason or the means to liberation is, even though our intellect can come to a conclusion, let it be aligned with Vedas. There is no other way for us to know except Vedas, right? So here, our Vedanta Desika Swami has written a lovely work called Daya Shatakam. Our Swamiji loves these three verses from Daya Shatakam. He has oft repeated that. And so, let us use that to explore this wonderful three slokas which Swamiji said. And just for us to recap, whole creation is a cycle. It keeps on happening. No start, no end. Can you imagine? Very difficult. Na? Time is zero. You see, intellect has come to its limit. Anything which is not finite, intellect can't grasp. And so here, Daya Shatakam. Daya Shatakam is a lovely 100 verses written by Swami Vedanta Desika Swami to celebrate the compassion of Bhagavan Srinivasa Perumal as a separate Devi. You see, we say, my dear Krishna, that lovely peacock feather on your crown, I am going to do archana for that. Your lovely Murali in your hands, that I am separately going to celebrate that. Or your tinklets, I am going to separately celebrate. And the Madhuri, our Vedanta Desika Swami took out that dayana compassion. He took out that wonderful quality of daya in Srinivasa Perumal separately as a Devi, Daya Devi. And Swami has written 100 verses on it. These are 3 verses, very beautiful verses. We said that Bhagavan creates, sustains, dissolves us. Leela, not Leela alone, compassionate Leela. He is saying, Srishti santatanam aparadam nirodhinim jagataka padma sahaya karune pratisanchara kelimacharasi. What this Daya Devi does is, it allowed the creation to last long until the one full Mahakalpakala. Then Daya Devi in Bhagavan thought, adada, these jivas are doing more and more papa, they are getting more and more mischievous. And if they continue like that, their chance of attaining Bhagavan is only becoming more and more lesser. Somehow, when the opposition team break better, it will die down. And the run korayum. So immediately Daya Devi looked at Srinivasa Perumal. Break. What break na? Pralayama. So it makes all these jivas so used to sinning, forgetting Bhagavan. The example, when a child which is supposed to behave well is behaving crankily, the mother would think, Achicho, it is now going to create more problem for itself because the father is not going to be happy if it is doing like that. Somehow she will pull the child, put it in the lap, so that it is not going to create more problem for itself by being restless now. It will hurt itself. And she will put to sleep. So Swami is saying, Thondri ajivadu edukuna, to give a great Vishranti to Samashti Jiva. Everybody gets a common sleep hour now. And the mind is getting a long rejuvenation sleepover, you see. And because normally when we don't sleep with the human body, what happens is, or 6 days, 7 days, if we don't sleep properly, what will happen? The body can't function properly. So along with the human body, there is a mini sleep. Right? There is a mini sleep. And for one full lease of this human body, there is a maxi sleep called death. Sleep, death, pralayam. And then we are getting another chance. The unur body vechko. Fresh adupo. Another life is a game la adumbod. Pocha, another life, bonus life, certain words. Bhagavan gives us infinite bonus lives, depending on the points. Point romba kammiya irundha pullu. Koncham jastiya irundhadana noi. Even better, abdina manishan. You see, points tha. So on the points which here too. So here our Daya Devi thought, as an individual person for running this life with the body, I gave mini sleep. As a separate soul, for that soul to get along with its Sukshma Sarira, etc., some rest, I did death, so that he can rejuvenate with a new body. For every child of mine, which is the Samashti Jivas, I need to give them a common sleep time. And let Bhagavan also take some rest. So, for two reasons. First, at least during the time of that pralayam, they won't sin, contain. Secondly, when you sleep and get up, there is a better chance that you don't continue your old ways to that intensity. Time within that time, Daya Devi thinks somehow I will change them. You see. Then it is the mother who puts the child to sleep. And when the child keeps on sleeping, morning 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, the mother gets a little worried. It has to wake up, it has to eat, it has to do some work. And so, Achid avishtaya pralaye jantu navalokya jata nirveda karana kalevara yogam vitarasi vrishashailanatha karune tvam. Hey vrishashailanatha Karuna Devi, what you think is, then she thought, just like a mother won't be happy, let the child eat something, do something na. At least let it find another chance for it to correct itself. No, the same mother which put the child to sleep yesterday night wakes up the child also na, so that it can do something productive. So this Daya Devi of Bhagavan again creates this universe to give these children an extra lease of time, extra lease of chance, so that it can understand somehow the real joy is in the Srinivasa Perumal's feet, nowhere else. So again gives Karana Kalevaram. It gives all these bodies, sense organs, world, etc., so that it can get the experience and hopefully attain Bhagavan. But Daya Devi does not stop there. Anuguna dasharpitena Sridhara Karune Samahita Sneha Shamayasitama Prajanam Shastramayena Stira Pradipena. Once the jivas wake up, there is a word called sneham. Sneham means viscous. Sneham also means compassion. Out of the sneham and the love that Daya has for all the jivas, it creates a small lamp out of the love. The oil nalu sneham na snehabanam solron le oil da kudikradhu ennai kudikradhu da snehabanam. So once I went to Ayurveda retreat, this is snehabanam. Snehabanam na friendly drink nu nenichena. Pata varum bitter ney. Sneham இது ஸ்நேகமாவே இல்லையா, இது எனிமையான இருக்கு. ஸ்நேகம்னா விஸ்கஸ், ஸ்நேகம்னா ஆயில்னு அர்த்தமா. So அவர் அதே ஸ்லேஷம் here. He's using the same pun here, saying that sneha which Daya Devi has becomes the oil, and she lights the lamp of Shastra, she lights the lamp of Vedas, she lights the lamp of Acharya's works, she lights the lamp of Madhura Geetam, so that when a jiva gets a chance, the darkness of ignorance completely is conquered by the light of this Madhura Geetam. Appada Dayadevi feels happy. Now I have taken care. And then somehow a jiva sees the light from Madhura Geetam, from Kripa of his Guru, and then wins over Ajnanam, comes back to Bhagavan. Suppose he doesn't, she doesn't give up. Tirumba. How can you compromise your own child? Again and again. Not once, twice. Adan Dayava. When you do a business, it fails once or twice. Bhagavan million times, zillion times, countless times. Give another chance. Give another chance. And we think it's a privilege. We don't understand. Krishna wants us back to him. And this is another chance I have, and I'm a privilege in then it becomes a problem, isn't it? So when the right time comes, Daya of Bhagavan slowly pushes us into a satsanga where an acharya lights a lamp of his own words, which are in line with Shastras, and to dispel the darkness, give us jnana, hence mukti. In the Moonata, our Swamiji completes by saying mukti ki karanam. The freedom or liberation comes only when there is jnana, and that jnana will come only from the wick called Vedam. And from the wick, when the lighting is done with the oil of Kripa of a Guru, then that light dispels the darkness of our ignorance. And then we'll understand the right path. And then when we go in the right path, we attain the goal of Krishna. So using Daya Shatakamoda Moon Slokam, our Swamiji also Hridayam saying Dayana saying. So he said the whole creation Bhagavan does out of compassion, so that we understand the purpose of creation is moksha, and that moksha's path should be in line with Vedas, and that Veda is that lamp, the light of that lamp. Atitirshatam tamo andam adhyatma deepam. That deepam is lit pradipam, and that light dispels the darkness, and the darkness is gone, then we are liberated from darkness, and hence we are liberated from samsara and attain Bhagavan. So Swamiji has now come to the conclusion that Bhagavan exists. The whole universe is created by Bhagavan. Bhagavan is our antaryami. All that happens in the body is because of Bhagavan. You can see Bhagavan in experience. I'm going to show you the path for that. You can listen to Bhagavan. I already told you that Bhagavan speaks very gently now. You can actually speak with Bhagavan. Bhagavan will actually speak with you in that experience. And then he slowly suggested that Bhumi also has life, and it sustains life. Even the food we eat is a blessings of a life called Bhuma Devi. And then he said the whole universe is a cycle of appearance, sustenance, disappearance, which means there is a constancy of consciousness which does this cycle again and again. And then for that, the reason of this repeated cycle is only one thing, Kripa. When a mother says this is how you solve a problem, the child makes a mistake. Kripa, try once more, try once more, try once more till you solve it. She is patient, compassionate. Like that, Bhagavan gives us chance after chance, again and again. And finally, when the right time comes, we go to a guru, and the guru shows us that even if your buddhi says this is the path, don't trust the buddhi alone. And you have to align your buddhi with Vedas. Use the Veda as the shining stone for sharpening your buddhi. And then if the Veda path is in line with your buddhi, that's why it is saying, Mayyeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshayana. The buddhi should also be clarified with Bhagavan's words called Vedas, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and our Madhura Geetam, etc. And then, Veru Upayam. For us to attain Bhagavan, which is not of this world, don't trust the intellect alone. Trust the authority of Vedas. So, and now he is going to tell what is the Kali Dharmam. We will see that from tomorrow.